On behalf of Crosscheck Media and Biz Talk Today TV, welcome everyone to Campaign Trail, the road to Congress. I am your host, Todd Schoenberger, and joining me as he does every 2 weeks at this time is Congressional candidate Berney Flowers. He is seeking to represent District 3, Maryland's District 3 in the House of Representatives. Berney, welcome back to the program. So you have been very busy, a number of things that you're doing, big time events. Looks like this campaign for you is really gaining traction, full steam ahead. I noticed it, you can't help but notice the amount of people joining Team Berney, getting involved with this. I mean, is this what we can expect as we go in these final 80 something odd days?
Bigger and better. We're not going to stop. We got a chance to win this thing. And again, Todd, thanks for having me, man. You guys are just so nice to me. And the bottom line is we don't want to let you down, so we got to just keep pushing.
Well, we love you, Berney, and we really like your policies as well. And one of those policies actually was a vote that came up in the House of Representatives. I know you have some thoughts about this, but the vote for insider trading, it was to prohibit members of Congress from investing in stocks because, as you know, Berney, there are stories, countless stories of, i.e., Nancy Pelosi, of actually receiving insider tips and taking advantage of those tips because they might be passing a bill, legislation, whatever it is. And as a result, they are insider trading because obviously it would impact the price of a stock. So now there was a vote. It took place end of July, but your opponent voted against it. Very surprising considering the fact that she doesn't strike me as someone who is very savvy when it comes to money, particularly in investing on Wall Street. So what's your take on this, Berney? Why do you think your candidate, your opponent, voted no?
Todd, I find that to be odd. If I had been in there, I would have voted for it because, let's just face it, we have destabilized the trust of the American people. Our Congress is very, very lowly rated, and the Pelosi's of the world and all the rest of these characters, people just don't trust them anymore. And the idea that they can create a bill and then vote on it and put themselves in a position to make huge sums of money and huge windfalls is just terrible. And I think it's a terrible look that my opponent, the incumbent, voted against it. I don't understand why she would do that, but I tell you, if I was in her position, I would have voted for it. And Congress people should not be getting insider information. They should be just like everybody else when it comes to the stock market.
What's interesting is that your opponent actually said that, and this was her public knowledge or public statement on voting no, is that she felt that it did not prevent Congress from ever owning stock. And more importantly, it was really tied back to the president, which I thought was a little odd because the president has to turn everything that he owns into a blind trust. He doesn't even have control over his stock portfolio right now. So why bring in the president? I mean, is she trying to loop something in, I mean, because you're insinuating something that isn't there. I would think that that would be slander and defamation.
Well, I would think so too. If it were me, I wouldn't even have brought the president in on this. This is between Congress. This thing was targeted at congressional members who have been taking advantage of the system. And I can tell you also, as a government civilian, every year we had to sign forms to make sure that we did not take advantage of we had to divest ourselves of certain stocks that were dealing with government procurement and that sort of thing. So the fact that Congress doesn't have to do that is an anomaly that needs to be corrected. And I think she's flat out wrong there. So bottom line is that's not true. I mean, this is not good.
Yeah, no doubt about that. And then she actually went even further in her explanation, and she actually brought in the SAVE Act. Now, as you know, the SAVE Act is there as to help prevent voter fraud because it's going to require constituents to actually show ID, picture ID from a government. It could be a government ID, government license, whatever it is, but it's going to prove that they are that person and that they are voting. She's voted no twice against the SAVE Act. Again, doesn't make a lot of sense. It's almost like she wants fraud to actually take place at the election on November 3rd. I mean, again, what are your thoughts on this, Berney?
I'm a big proponent of the SAVE Act. People who are consumers, who are voters, should be able to identify themselves. I don't understand who in their right mind wouldn't have some way to identify themselves, whether it be a driver's license or a passport, even a bill from a phone company. You should be able to identify yourself. And anybody who doesn't want us to be able to identify ourselves is looking to cheat. It just leaves too many holes. And to tell you the truth, I think that's how the Democrat Party has been winning in this state, and we need to put a stop to that. Let's make sure everything is fair and square.
Yeah, and we'll get into that a little bit because I am I cannot be the only one that's disturbed in the state of Maryland
You're not.
seeing Governor Moore. I mean Governor Moore making comments to the editorial pages in the Baltimore Sun of all publications, the Baltimore Sun. He is upset with the language being used to talk about his policies, his failed policies, and he's going after the Sun, which has always notoriously been leaning to the left.
Oh yeah.
So that doesn't add up, but we'll talk about that in a moment. But back to your opponent. One of the items that has come up a lot this election season is this Democratic Socialists of America, DSA. And yeah, and Mayor Mamdani is really, he's front and center with it being mayor of New York City. He's a proud card carrying member of the DSA. And there have been a number of candidates coast to coast that are running that actually have been making some traction. Now, I get the race in Michigan was a close call. The Wisconsin governor race with the candidate there and the DSA lost, so that's good news. But still, the fact that these candidates seem to be gaining ground only leads to it's a disturbing thought because we have another election in 2 years. So with your opponent, though, she doesn't seem to put the brakes on any of her thoughts or affiliation or really her inquiry to the DSA. What do you think about that? I mean, is there something else that's there? Because even like AOC isn't technically a member, but we look at her as a member of DSA. Should we start looking at your opponent as a member as well?
Well, she hasn't identified herself as not a member of DSA. You know, as an old communist fighter, the bottom line is socialism leads to communism, and communism leads to death. You know what I mean? So the issue of the day is if I were her, I can't tell her what to do. I'm trying to defeat her. But the issue of the day is she should make sure that people understand that she is not a member of DSA. Otherwise, we'll make the assumption that she is.
Yeah, and I know she's raised a considerable amount of money
Oh,
from
yeah.
some groups that are they're head scratchers, I guess. So it's kind of, are there affiliations there that I mean, I guess I would think that the voters in District 3 are not aware of the connection here. I
Well,
mean,
you
does
know,
that
it's
go
funny you
ahead?
say that because this past weekend I'm out at the Howard County Fair.
Okay.
As a matter of fact, I spent the better part of 2 weeks out there. I'm driving around in carts, doing the courtesy cart, hauling people around, talking to a lot of people. We had a wonderful parade on Saturday. It was beautiful. Check out all that stuff on social media. But the issue of the day, I counted about 67 people that I spoke to when I'm in the Republican booth. And nobody, not one, knew who their congressperson was. And I
Wow.
told them that their congressperson was the incumbent and that she had taken roughly $5 million from APAC. They knew who APAC was and they weren't happy when they found out. So the bottom line is, maybe she's trying to run a stealth campaign and be real quiet here, but we're going to have to make sure everybody knows that she took $5 million from APAC.
Yeah, yeah, and as you should. I mean, it's public record.
It
You have
is.
every right to say it. I mean, you're representing the public, so it only makes sense that you would bring that up. I am curious though. because you have a number of things there that are number of items, and you can easily go down. I mean, I saw a some type of an asset where it really compared you to your opponent, and military service. It was like 7 or 8 items, and they were all you checked every box. Your
Thank you.
opponent checked zero, and and it makes sense because it's just factual what you're actually providing there. Is your opponent providing? I mean, does she ever? I was not able to find one thing that she is saying that is opposing you, which then leads me to believe we obviously know that there's nothing there to oppose. But as a result, I mean, I would think that the voters in District 3 would pick up on the fact that, hey, I mean, she has nothing to challenge you, but you can challenge her on a lot of items.
Well, Todd, I'm glad you saw that. The bottom line is that, I'm a military guy. I got national security experience. I got border experience. I spent time in DHS at Fort Meade. I've done it all for 34 years, and she hasn't. And the issue of the day is that I think her strategy, as being that we are in a one party state, is just to wait it out and hope people vote blue no matter who. And bottom line is, we got to flush her out, as they used to say. So I'm going to do everything I can to make sure people understand that they have a viable candidate here with military experience. I've deployed, I have supported the United States all my life, and my opponent hasn't. And she's going to try run a stealth campaign, and we're going to do everything we can to not let her do that.
Yeah, well, you're a true patriot, that's for sure, and I
Thank you, brother.
appreciate it, and thank you for your service. I know all the voters in District 3 thank you as well. So that does then lead to a one item that did come up from a left-wing blogger, I think, and he had some issues with your statements and some of the marketing assets out there about the Key Bridge. Now, the Key Bridge, as you know, is still not even close to being rebuilt. And Governor Moore continues to spin it. He's doing a lot of having national conversations, but all he does is point the finger at the White House, and he's not pointing the finger at himself. I just want to clarify something there because it really bothered me that someone would come out and say the things that they said, because I think they completely took everything that you were saying out of context. I mean, it's obvious you care about the victims in the accident that lost their lives and their families. I mean, I think that goes without saying. But what you want is what's best for Marylanders, and that's to fix the damn bridge, right?
Yes, I totally agree. The bottom line is that, yeah, people lost their lives, and that is terrible. And, it shouldn't have happened. It's a terrible thing that happened, but let's honor them by fixing that bridge. And I don't see any movement from Governor Moore. I don't see any movement from Congresswoman Elfreth. I just don't see a whole lot happening. And I also, know that, Katrina, they had those bridges up in 2 years, less than 2 years. The folks down in Florida, the governor down there, DeSantis, I mean, they jumped right on those bridges and that were hurt by the hurricane that happened just recently. The problems in Pennsylvania and Minnesota. Bottom line is, we have the capability to make things better for the people of Maryland, and I just don't see a whole lot of movement between the administration and Sarah Elfreth, the incumbent congresswoman. So for anybody to say anything like that, well, here's the thing. I learned in the third grade that everybody's not gonna like you, but I'm still coming. So they can say whatever they want.
I
Right is
love
right.
that. Well, I mean, look, I mean, we're now in a situation. You're running for a congressional seat. It could very well determine the balance of power
Yes.
after November. So there's a lot at stake. I mean, power is linear. You can't create it. You either have it or you don't. And people really go out of their way to try to attack the opponent. So I would expect you're probably going to have more of these one-offs here and there as we get closer to November 3rd. The one thing is great is that I see the crowds. They're widening by the week for you, and there seems to be this energy that really is, I mean, it really shows that everyone is really engaged with your campaign right now. And you have a tremendous event coming up just tomorrow night. Can you tell the audience about it?
Well, tomorrow at 6 o'clock at La Posta Pizzeria over in Severna Park, Our good friends at the Severna Park Republican Women's Club, they're going to host us over there. My battle buddy, Vince Crabb, Colonel United States Army, one each, has just arrived from Texas, and he is going to tell some stories that will probably curl your hair. His call sign is the Sheriff of Baghdad. So I'm just going to sit back and let him talk. But the issue of the day is, come on by. I know we said that we wanted folks to RSVP, but if you didn't get a chance to do that, come on by anyway. We need to get ourselves organized and ready to take on the challenges that we're going to be facing. And we got a real chance to win this thing. Let me tell you, across my social media platforms over the last 28 days, we got 178,000 views. Okay.
Yeah.
If we could get half those people to vote, we win going away. So I say, let's bring the power on. Let's make this too big to rig.
Yeah, no, yeah, I like that. Well, there's no doubt about it. I mean, the attention that's been given to you, and like I said, I mean, it continues to move the needle, continues to grow, and I think that goes a long way because you really, what's great about you, Berney, is that you have been on the offense here. I know Republicans, since the war started, have been playing defense. You have been playing offense, and you know that you have to score because that's the only way you're going to help Marylanders and those in District 3. So that makes a lot of sense. I think that's why you have so many people that are really rallying behind you as you go through this journey. The question I have for you with Colonel Crabb, I mean, who gave him the Sheriff of Baghdad? Was that President Bush that gave him that moniker?
Well, actually, from what I understand, and when you see him tomorrow, you can ask him personally.
I
But my
will.
understanding is that it was given to him by a CNN reporter who happens to be famous. So I'll let you guys work all that sort of stuff out. But he was the very, very first sheriff of Baghdad when we, stabilized the area. It was a hot mess over there, and they needed a strong man to come in there and make things right. And let me tell you, they don't come in any stronger than Vince Crabb. So I'm proud to have him as my battle buddy, and that guy has just done a lot of wonderful things for me. And we have, as I said before, traveled all over this earth together. And I'm going to turn him loose upon the Republican Party tomorrow night.
That's outstanding. Well, I know I can't wait to meet him. And just so much. I mean, so many great stories, I'm sure. And it's just going to be a great event, a lot of energy. Definitely invite everyone to attend and get out there and really support Berney throughout this campaign. So I think that's going to be great. Berney, we're going to leave it there. For more information on tomorrow night, you can go to flowersformaryland.com. You'll see it right underneath there on the banner. And you can also go to Biz Talk Today. We'll have information as well on that event. It's from 6 to 8 Eastern tomorrow night. Definitely will want to watch it. I'm going to be there. It's going to be a tremendous event. I know a big crowd, and it should be a lot of fun. That's for sure. Great, great summertime event. That's for sure, Berney. So it should be wonderful. I cannot wait to talk to you again, and not just tomorrow, but we'll talk again in 2 weeks to further talk about the campaign as we now getting into the home stretch. As you know, once we get through Labor Day, that second week of September is when things are going to really heat up.
Oh,
So
yeah.
we will be talking again in 2 weeks. 2 weeks is right before Labor Day. So the final Monday of summer at 2 o'clock Eastern right here on BTT. Berney, can't wait to see you tomorrow. It's going to be a lot of fun, my friend.
It's going to be absolutely awesome.
Absolutely. So on behalf of Republican congressional candidate Berney Flowers, I am Todd Schoenberger. Thank you once again for joining us.